all, welcome to Math Easy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about solving two-step equation for integers. Consider the example 5n plus 5 equal to 45. Our first aim is to isolate this variable n. For that, we need to avoid negative 5 near the variable n. So, we have to take the inverse of positive 5, which is negative 5. So, when you do one operation on one side, you should do the same on the other side also, which means you need to subtract negative 5 on both the sides. For what? For balancing the equation. Now, what will happen? This positive 5 and negative 5 will get cancelled. You will be left with the 5n. That is equal to 45 minus 5, which is 40. Now, to isolate this variable n, we need to divide 5 on both sides. Why we need to divide? Divide 5n means 5 times n, multiplication. So, you have to take the inverse of multiplication, that is division. So, that is why I am dividing 5 on both sides. Why I am dividing 5? Because I need to cancel this 5 in order to isolate the variable n. So, now you are left with the variable n. 40 divided by 5, that is going to be equal to 8. Remember to divide 5 on both sides in order to balance the equation. So, n equal to 8 is the solution. Consider the example y by 6 minus 3 equal to minus 11. So, our aim is to isolate the variable y. For that, first we need to avoid minus 3 on this side, which is associated with y. So, for that you have to take the inverse of negative 3. Negative inverse is going to be positive. So, you are going to add positive 3 on both the sides. Now, you are left with y by 6. Negative 3 positive 3 will become cancelled and minus 11 plus 3 is going to be negative 8. Now, y by 6 equal to negative 8 is the equation. Now, we need to avoid the variable y. For that, you can see 6 is at the denominator. So, you need to cancel it. So, since it is a division, you have to take the inverse of division, which is multiplication. Which means you need to multiply 6 on both the sides in order to isolate this variable y. So, now you are left with the variable y. Minus 8 times 6 is going to be equal to minus 48. So, y equal to minus 48 is the value. Consider the example 4 times g minus 1 equal to 24. So, we need to isolate this variable g. For that, first we need to avoid this 4. So, what you need to do, since it is 4g minus 1 means 4 times g minus 1. So, inverse of multiplication, it is going to be division, which means what? You have to divide 4 on both the sides. You have to divide 4 on the other side also to balance the equation. Now, 4 and 4 will get cancelled and you will be left with g minus 1. That is equal to 24 divided by 4 is going to be equal to 6. Now, you see negative 1 is associated with this variable g. So, in order to avoid that, you have to take the inverse of negative 1, which is going to be positive 1. So, you are adding 1 on both the sides. Now, what will happen? You will be left with the variable g. Negative 1, positive 1 will get cancelled and 6 plus 1, that is going to be equal to 7. So, g equal to 7 is the solution. Consider the example minus 40 equal to 12x plus 8. Here first we need to isolate the variable x. So, we need to avoid the number 8 first. So, I am taking the inverse of positive 8, which is negative 8. So, when you do one operation on one side, you should do the same thing on the other side also. So, I am subtracting 8 from both the sides. So, that is going to be equal to, here it will be 12x, positive 8, negative 8 will get cancelled. So, and this side it's going to be negative 40, negative 8 is going to be negative 48. Now, you can see to isolate this variable x, we have to avoid the number 12. So, I am going to divide 12 on both the sides in order to isolate this variable x. So, when you cancel this 12, now the variable x will be isolated and minus 48 divided by 2, that is going to be equal to negative 4. So, x equal to negative 4 is the value of x. Consider the example 13 equal to w minus 14 divided by 2. We need to isolate this variable w. So first we need to avoid the number 2 which is associated with w minus 14. For that, I am going to simply multiply 2 from both sides in order to avoid this number 2. So what will happen? 2 and 2 that will get cancelled, and 2 times 3, that's 13, is going to be 26, and you will be left with w minus 14 on the other side. Now to isolate this variable w, we need to avoid negative 14. So I am taking the inverse of negative 14, which is positive 14. When you do one operation on other side, you should do the same thing on the other side also. So this negative 14, positive 14 will get cancelled. You will be left with w on this side, and 26 plus 14, that's going to be equal to 40. So w's value is going to be equal to 40. Consider the example minus 9 equal to minus 11 plus b by 8. So to avoid this variable b by 8, first we need to avoid negative 11 which is associated with b by 8. So I am going to take the inverse of negative 11, that is positive 11. So I am adding positive 11 on both the sides. So what will happen? Negative 11, positive 11 will get cancelled, and you will be left with b by 8 on one side. So that is going to be equal to negative 9 plus 11. That is going to be equal to positive 2. So that is b by 8 equal to 2. Right, now we need to avoid this number 8 in order to isolate the variable b. So in order to avoid that, I am going to multiply 8 on both sides. So what will happen when you multiply 8? This 8 and this 8 will get cancelled, and the variable b will be isolated. And 8 times 2, that's going to be 16. So b equal to 16 is the solution for this equation. Hope you have understood about solving two-step equation using integers in this video. If you find this video helpful, please subscribe to Math Easy channel and push the like button. Thanks for watching.